Hey, hello and welcome. Thank you everyone for hanging on just for a moment as I got things fixed and ready to go. I was telling John that my phone charger, like, I don't get this. I have a USB-C plug, right? And you put it in, and it doesn't matter which direction you put it in. And somehow it stops working on my phones. Every single time I have to get it, wiggled in just right, or else it doesn't charge anymore. And this doesn't happen to my wife. It only happens to me, and I cannot figure out what I'm doing to my phones to get them to do this. Like, I thought the whole point of USB-C is that it's supposed to be nigh indestructible. I don't know.
It's not Matthew proof, though.
Yeah, it's not Matthew proof. I only deal with technology every day. I mean, why would I expect things to work? It blows my mind. I just don't get it. Because it's one of these things where, like, I get new cords and it won't work. I gotta wiggle it, and this isn't a cheap phone. It's a Samsung S21, and it's still just, it craps out. I don't understand. Like, it's almost as if they buy cheap parts knowing they're gonna break or something. No. Surely not. Surely not. Well, guys, I hope that you are doing fine and that your cell phones are not being obnoxious like mine. But hey to everyone in chat, John DiMarco. I think I've acknowledged you, but he was first from what I could see. Josh Street was here saying we want life with Amy, not this dolphin boy. I'm not sure why you think I'm the dolphin boy. I'm the anti-dolphin boy. Salty Trucker's here saying Matthew's late. What a jerk. Yeah. I was like, okay, I got 4 minutes to get ready, and I literally spent 3 of them fighting with my phone trying to get it to plug in. Josh is saying Amy needs to throw Dolphin Boy into the doghouse. I accomplished that on my own quite successfully. I don't need you encouraging her. Hey, Thomas Paz, how are you doing tonight? Just after I took people to told people to come here, and Matthew is late. Yeah. I mean, come on, guys. You know what I'm about. I mean, you don't come to this channel expecting me to be on time and have no audio issues and no video issues. No, we all know what we're here for, and it's to see me fail and do it spectacularly.
Yep.
Michael says, let's see the Glenfiddich, and I hope that's how you pronounce it, but here we go. As for as much as you can see it, here is the Glenfiddich 12. I went out and I got this today, so Michael and I are going to be enjoying some scotch for movie night this week, which I've never had scotch before. I'm quite interested to see what it's going to be like. This is a single malt Scotch whiskey, and I believe it is aged 12 years, hence the name 12. I mean, a little on the nose perhaps, but... And I'm assuming, Michael, that you want to keep this in the container they send it in. Like, the more protected you keep it from, like, sun and stuff, I'm assuming the better. So I'm just going to keep this right in here until I need it. But I'm actually excited about this. I've never had a scotch before.
Professor Brainsfix thinks there might be some debris in your charging port and you should try cleaning it.
I have. I mean, that's a good thought. I'll do it again because goodness knows I get stuff in there. But I have one of those compressed air things that it often, and man, you would think that would do it. It just never does. Watch this one time, though. Watch me blow it out here. And, just like lint and, I don't know, old peanut butter sandwiches comes flying out. Why old? I don't know. It felt right in the moment.
Best not to question it.
You got kids, peanut butter sandwiches get eaten or not eaten, as the case may be. Like, literally, it was Friday. Amy went to her mom's house for the day, took the kids, had a fun outing of it. I sit down on the couch, and I sit down right on an open-face peanut butter sandwich. I'm like, they're not even home today. And somehow, one of my children had, like, found a peanut butter sandwich on the table, opened it up, I guess, presumably to eat the peanut butter and not the sandwich, and then left it on the couch for me to sit on. I don't know. Oh gosh. And guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about for Friday, by the way, every week, more or less, Michael and I kind of do a roast of a movie. We do it in good fun. We do it well-natured, but recently we've been going through all the Star Trek films. So we are up to First Contact this week, which Michael is notoriously known for having emotions about this movie. Good emotions. I believe it's his favorite one.
It wouldn't surprise me. It's an awesome movie, after all.
It is nice. It holds a special place in my heart. It was one of the few first movies I owned on VHS. You know, my family had Star Trek 4, Superman 4, but I mean, the first sci-fi movie that I actually owned myself that I bought was quite possibly First Contact, or Godzilla 1999, which I also have fond memories of for that exact reason. But I do understand there are some issues with it. And you know what? We're going to make fun of it, but we're going to have a fun time watching it, too, at the same time. Pop Culture Curator, how are you doing tonight? Glad to see that you are here. Family is doing well. Thank you. All healthy, and Amy is healing up quite nicely from the broken foot. She's actually able to put a shoe on her broken foot now. So we're kind of entering that third stage of healing. I don't know if y'all have broken a foot or not, but in the past, I never know if you've broken a foot in the past, but if you haven't, there's more or less 3 phases of the healing process. There are the first several weeks in which your bones are the most pliable, and like if something were to fall on it or bump it, or like someone to step on it, it's quite possible that your bones are going to get misaligned. That's why you used to do the casts. They don't like casts nowadays. They prefer to give you orthopedic boots and like temporary stuff. But once you get past that, you get to the point where you can wear the orthopedic boot and actually be able to walk on the foot. And it's not the most pleasant thing, but at least you can walk on it and get around. And then finally, you can get rid of the boot altogether and you can start gently walking around in just a shoe. And Amy is finally at that point, and we are so glad that she has hit this stage of recovery. But thanks for asking.
But can she kick you? But can she kick you yet? Thomas wants to know.
Oh, well, yes, not with her bad foot. But, I mean, if she's sitting down, she's quick. She's definitely learned to take advantage and with her good foot quickly pop me as I go by. And honestly, guys, I mouth off a lot.
Yeah, sure.
I am known for being quite sassy in real life, very, very sarcastic. Much to my mom's chagrin, all of her children turned out this way for some reason. She used to say, like, oh yeah, every family has a smart aleck, and clearly there's about 4 families missing their smart aleck because they're all in mine. So I do plenty of things to deserve getting smacked.
Oh, we know.
Things even worse than getting names wrong or calling Lucas Lewis. I mean, truly heinous crimes.
I know, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Just the tip. Absolute tip. Oh gosh. Hey, Robert Green, how you doing tonight? Glad you're here. Professor Brainy Specs, I'm so glad you can join us. I cleaned the port with debris. I'm a little bit behind. Not quite bird level behind yet, but
Almost.
I'm getting there. Michael's saying, I work for Verizon. That's true. I did remember that. The charging port is the weakest part of all new phones. Get wireless chargers and they last a lot longer. Yeah. Okay, so I actually do have a wireless charger that I got for my last phone because it did the same thing. And I keep it in my travel bag. Like if I have to, I might as well call it a bug out bag. It's not a bug out bag in the sense of, oh, I'm a doom and gloom guy, but in the sense of if I get a phone call from a client and they need me to go somewhere, I can grab it and it has all the stuff I need to help people out and do the work I do out there. And it has a wireless charger specifically because I can't trust anything when I'm on the road and I don't want my phone to go dead. But for whatever reason, I don't typically use a wireless charger at home. I don't know why I do that. It's weird. It's actually a real good idea, Michael. Then I don't have to worry about it. Let me go ahead and get the screening room link into here. Springtime, how you doing today? Wants to know just how right-wing is SeaQuest DSV? Interesting question. Not very?
Yes, fairly moderate, I would say.
Yeah, I guess SeaQuest DSV, I would say, would lean ever so slightly to the left. SeaQuest DSV 2032, I would say, leaned ever so slightly to the right. And that's simply because 2032 is more of a military organization, whereas DSV with no 2032 was more of the Greenpeace scientific exploration side. And on a strictly stereotypical level, I would describe the Greenpeace side of life as being leaning left and the military side as leaning right, even though within our own armed forces these days, there's definitely a strong left-leaning slant, which makes no sense to me, but it's what we got in the military these days. Yeah, Professor, we'll end SeaQuest in the year 2032. It seems like we're heading there, doesn't it? I'm trying. We have just a handful of episodes left, so I think we got a good chance of actually making it. If I can actually be good at time managing, so in 3 weeks I teach my next lesson. So as long as I get started this week and get it done on time, then I won't have to do any interruptions, which is what Amy would love, because it means that she's not having to deal with my last minute scrambling and typing and stuff. So definitely everyone be praying that I actually manage my time intelligently instead of like a doofus like I usually do. But to be fair, this last time around, I had planned to start my lesson a week earlier, and then I got COVID. And that was the week I did all the We Happy Few live streams, because that's literally all the brain power I had at the time, to sit there and react instead of like actually think things through. It's so weird. My brain was in a complete fuzz. So I have pinned the link over in YouTube. So this is the way it works, guys. If you haven't been here before, go to that link and you'll be able to watch my copy of SeaQuest 2032 alongside with John and I. That link will only be active while we're doing this stream. If you try to, like, even show up 1 minute late, I'm sorry, it's going to be gone. This isn't here for you to be able to use as a streaming service. If you want that, instead go to peacocktv.com and you can watch SeaQuest 2032, and all 5 seasons of Sliders, which is an excellent sci-fi show for at least 4 seasons, 3.5 maybe. And I highly recommend it. And also, I mean, it's free. Like a lot of these streaming services, you have to pay $5, $7, $10 a month. And then you have to pay stuff on top of that if you want to watch their new releases. Disney. But Peacock actually is free. They do have a paid tier if you want to get special things like the Harry Potter movies and stuff like that. But if you just want to watch a bunch of really good TV, I don't know what their business plan is here, to be quite honest. I think they actually lost money this past year, which makes sense. I mean, you're streaming your stuff for free, but hey, go and watch it, guys. Set up a free account. So there's 2 ways to watch it. So if you're in the future, obviously that's not going to be here. You're going to have to go to peacocktv.com, or you're going to have to just buy it on Amazon or something. They actually have Blu-rays of these. I don't know. I don't think they're actually at 1080p, but I mean, they're pretty reasonably priced, all things considered. If neither one of those options sound good to you only have your cell phone or something up, we got you covered. We have a clip that we grab every 3 to 5 seconds down below, so you can have a picture only. There's no audio, at least there shouldn't be, as long as I have everything muted the way I'm supposed to, which I don't. I do now. I do now. Oh, gosh. Matthew. There is no audio. It is video only, and that way you just have a visual something so you can see what John and I are talking about as the show goes on. So with all that, I am going to get this kicked off, and I'll scroll back up and see what sort of stuff I missed. Do this. So Let's hit play over in SciTube. Anyone trying to sync up with us? I'll give you a quick 3 count here. 3, 2, 1, go. I'm the worst.
Very
I'm the
quick.
worst. I'm the worst. I know it. Here we are at Turner Park, New Cape West, Florida, which certainly sounds like a cape I'd find somewhere, but I think that's a made-up place.
Yeah, it's a made-up place.
And hey, Daniel's Hot Topic, how you doing tonight? So this guy we're looking at right now in the gray suit, he is the head of the UEO, Mr. Secretary of the UEO.
Mm-hmm.
And we got some Eastern sounding name, Veracek. I say Eastern, I mean like Eastern European, not like Middle East. Some Soviet sounding thing. Because it was the 90s. Everyone who was a bad guy was a Soviet sounding something. But the guy wants some sort of favor, and Mr. Secretary's like, well, I can't stand you and your filthy work. Y'all guys can go straight to Hades. But he's got the dirt on the guy. We all know it. There's that one last outpost. We thought we absolved it, but no. No, we know it's still there, and if you want to keep my research hidden, then you better do something about it. Meanwhile, some strange, mysterious vessel's coming into dock. We don't know who it is. They're not identifying themselves. Transmitting some secure ID code. And it's Section 31. Section 31. Except at this time, there were a lot less sections. They call it Section 7, but it's Section 31, guys.
Inflation, and it's before inflation.
Yes, exactly. Joshua is saying, Matthew, where is Babylon 5? You said last week Babylon 5 would be on Tuesdays. Yeah, we'll see how that turns out. I'm honestly not sure what my schedule is going to be this year, but work and church stuff permitting, then yes, we'll be doing some Babylon 5 stuff on Tuesday. It's kind of up in the air right now. But hey, look who it is. Bridger, which wasn't he here just last episode in Resurrection?
Yeah, it was a couple episodes ago, I think.
But hey, Jellicoe does not like Section 7. He describes them as goose-stepping Gestapo illegitimate children of an Englishman, if you get my drift. But for the duration of this episode, Bridger's in charge. He is Section 7, he says. He's not just representing them, he is everything about them for this episode. And he now has complete authority over everything SeaQuest does for the duration of this mission.
Professor Brainspec says that was a secret meaning you would see in the X-Files.
I never watched the X-Files.
I've only seen a few episodes here and there, I think.
Like, there's no reason I didn't watch it. It's just one of those things where by the time it really came on my radar, they were into like season 5 or something. And I just didn't want to backtrack. And there was no streaming services. You couldn't really backtrack. You just had to pick it up wherever the series was, whenever you found it. So they're off to Macronesia again. Mission is strictly need to know. I'm not going to tell you anything. And Bridger's not following any orders. These are his own orders. That's why he has Section 7 authority, which, I mean, I'm not sure how Section 7 works in this case. Like, he definitely has orders. I'm assuming the Secretary of UEO contacted him, right?
You would think.
I mean, I guess you could say that he's trying to create plausible deniability for the Secretary. but it certainly sounds like there's some moving pieces independent of each other. But hey, I mean, Bridger's saying, look, yeah, we got to go in. We got to go to this island that we gave over to Macronesia, the Alliance, a while back ago. But there's something on that island that the Alliance doesn't know about, that they haven't found yet, and we need to go in and take care of it. It's not that we're going to take the whole island. Like, we're not going to blow it up. We're just going to go in, extract our information, and get out. Thomas says, wasn't Section 7 in Transformers? I don't know.
I wouldn't know.
Transformers, that was another one that kind of passed me by. Like, I saw Beast Wars. I don't know. If you were alive at the time, you know what I'm talking about, but Toonami had this really weird thing they did, Cartoon Network, where they showed the same episodes over and over and over and over again, and they never finished the series. Dragon Ball Z was notorious for this. Like 15 times I saw the Namek Saga. They'd finished the Namek Saga and then they started over again. Like they never moved it forward for some reason. And they never showed us, they never went back to the beginning. It was always right back to the Namek Saga. And Beast Wars did the same thing. Like they'd show 12 episodes and then start over again. And so by the time they finally went forward, I had no interest in it. And Transformers, I mean, I didn't see the old stuff and I got uninterested in Beast Wars because it never moved forward. So Bridger was hoping, by the way, that Ford would have some sort of knowledge about the base because apparently he was stationed there as a fresh ensign. So they're trying to figure out how they're going to get in here. Bridger's setting up a task force that's comprising of Ford and Lewis and himself. And they're going to infiltrate into this base and extract the information they need. And Lewis needs to set up some sort of microwave scanner to be able to find these data crystals. Which is, it's funny that they call them crystals. You'll see it in a little bit. What it actually is, but it's like a fusion of optical and physical storage media, like a solid state drives meets a CD-ROM drive in a flash drive size. And while Bridger and company are going on this stealth mission, Jellicoe's got to somehow stay in Alliance waters in the enemy territories where the SeaQuest has no business being and basically stay hidden or act as a distraction. And Dagwood, he really, really wants to be a part of this mission. So obviously, Bridger wants to know why he wants to go, but Dagwood doesn't know. He goes, I don't know, but I just have a feeling there's something I need to be there for. There's something there that I should know. And that works. That's all the convincing Bridger needs. Which, maybe he knows something about what it is they're looking for that makes the request make sense.
Of course, having the extra muscle on the mission probably wouldn't hurt either.
Yeah. So I missed that ship they had in the first two seasons, the Stingray, I think they called it.
The Stinger, yeah.
Yeah. It was only a one-seater, but they're taking out the station wagon version of the Stinger. And unfortunately, the area they wanted to go to has been heavily mined. Maybe by the UEO, probably by the UEO. Maybe the Alliance have added some of their own mines. But I mean, this is the only way they can approach the base without being found. So somehow they have to get through this trench. So this is where they're heading, the Banana Island weather station. But unfortunately, the area they wanted to get, like the secret vents they were going to come in through, has been blocked off. They could blast their way in, but obviously that's going to announce their presence to the Alliance. And Bridger's like, oh, look, I mean, there's this hole here. It's 4 or 5 meters wide. That's totally enough. We can totally fit.
Barely an inconvenience.
Now, if it weren't for the spoilers on the back of the of this mini sub, they probably could have fit. I mean, I know in real life a sub does have a bit of a stabilizer on the back, but I know there's something about this design that, I mean, that looks more like something you see on a plane, which maybe they got a bit of a discount, because I see wheels on the bottom of it too. Maybe this is supposed to fly and be a submersible.
It's possible. But they found a place to dock.
Just need to get this styrofoam rock out of the way and we'll be good to go. And here we get to see Lewis's microwave scanner, which kind of looks like a one of those handbacks, you know? Except you just put a little blinky LED thing at the front that goes like a Cylon. I say Cylon, but obviously, I mean, it's green, not red.
Thomas says the Decepticons will have no chance against Darwin. Well, that's for sure.
Yeah, no one has any chance against Darwin.
Indeed.
I mean, they'd come for him, but he can see the future. We've established this already. And then he'd send them dreams to address whatever personality flaw they had to attack him in the first place. Well, I say personality flaw. It'd be a flaw from his perspective, at least. Thomas, every time you say a name wrong, I lose an hour of my life.
Ouch.
You know, kind of like the Princess Bride. Or daylight savings. At least I haven't messed up Bridger's name on purpose. Or accident.
Yet. The night is young.
It is. Hey, good thing.
Jar of pickles for me.
Yeah, exactly. Which, hey, we are what? In the 30 days now, I want to say? Somewhere in the 30-day range? Or in the 30s.
Yeah, something like that.
Before it starts back up, the Orville. And obviously, Ford, he's not feeling great about being here. Seems like something's upsetting him. We also get these glimpses of memories from Dagwood as well. Memories that he has no way of actually possessing. But, I mean, whatever. They seem like maybe this is the areas that they're supposed to be in. It's some sort of cryogenic storage room. Which, I mean, good guess on Lewis's part.
And Darwin has trained him well.
It's a Gelf with severely messed up skin on his hands. I mean, he's been in cryogenic Not suspension. He dead. His body has been frozen. Of course, how would it... Because he died before he was put in there, I'm pretty sure. So it makes no sense that his hand is all clawed up like this, but... Maybe Dr. Evilface here was especially cruel when he put people in the cold storage. And it's in black and white, so you know it's the past. I like how the Gelf is so big that his feet go off the end of the gurney. Hey, Trek Reviewer, how you doing tonight?
Lucas is making an interesting observation that this is UEO technology, but research into daggers was outlawed before the formation of the UEO.
Was it?
Well, that's what he just said.
I mean, yeah, it is what he said. I'm trying to think of the timeline.
Because, well, at the beginning of the show, I think the UEO had only recently been formed.
Okay. Yes. And I guess by the time season 2 came around, which was exactly 1 year after season 1, the Gelfs were already like entering their 20s. So okay, that timeline, it works out. But yeah, it's very strange. What is the UEO doing having their tech at this base? This base that Bridger seems intimately familiar with. And Ford. And Dagwood.
That animal?
That animal, yeah. Jellicoe, really not a fan of people on the bridge out of uniform. So the Alliance kind of gave the SeaQuest a near miss here. They don't think we got discovered, but man, it was close. So Jellicoe wants to know if that animal could be of any assistance in keeping the SeaQuest hidden away. Now remember, at the beginning of the series, they had to do a bunch of like hand motions to communicate. But they have almost completely gotten rid of the need for that. Lewis has been hard at work with the Dolphin Translator. And we actually saw that in several episodes where he was building up the language database and trying to get Darwin to learn more. But O'Neill, he says, do you know what the whisker looks like? And he's like, yes, it helps SeaQuest see. So he goes out to get the enemy whiskers, and he's able to get it to lock onto him and, you know, get them crash into each other and blow up. But that hopefully bought SeaQuest a little extra breathing room.
Well, yeah, Jellicoe's under some stress. I'll come a little bit of slack this time.
And here we are back at Banana Island Weather Station, the Alliance Control Center. And this lady, she's a little psychic herself. She turned around before that alarm ever started blaring. And Jellicoe called this. He's like, yeah, I don't think the Alliance is going to think that one of their whiskers just so happened to have an unfortunate run-in with marine life. Like, it's bought us a very small amount of time. We need to get things moving here. Not that he has any control over things. He's entirely dependent on how fast Bridger and Ford and Lewis and Dagwood can be. And Lewis is trying. I mean, he's got his little little hand back out and it's beeping as quick as he can get it to beep. The Bridger is asking Ford, which way do we go? Because remember, he knows Ford worked here. And he really wants Ford to give him some information, but Ford is less than forthcoming with all of his information. He said, I don't know. Even though we all saw his flashback. Thankfully, Dagwood is here. And he can lead Lewis and everyone in the correct direction. Thomas, there goes another hour. Several by now. I mean, I've been talking about Jellicoe and Lewis and... Amazingly, I never get Darwin's name wrong.
Well, how could you?
He's only the most important character on this show.
That's what I'm saying.
He literally is. I mean, so many episodes have relied on Darwin to save the day.
He's the best.
In fact, I might say that this episode relied on Darwin to save the day.
Oh, well, of course. And he was even noble enough not to take offense at being referred to as that animal.
That's right. I think this is the same table they used back in the Blana Troy episode, where they found that super Esper guy who was in a coma, and he was in the classical crucifix pose. I want to say this is the same table.
Could be.
And I didn't even need Memory Alpha to tell me that, Professor Brainy Specs. There are a handful of things I recognize on my own. I mean, they're small handfuls, but they're still handfuls. So Lewis puts it all together. He's like, you knew about this, Ford. There's no way you didn't. And Ford's like, look, I was just a guard. I didn't know what they were doing. I didn't know why they send these people out. Because I was just told to report to a part of the base I'd never been before. They had me move a body. I assumed it was dead, even though, I mean, you can clearly see the nostrils flaring as he breathed in the episode. And then he attacked 2 MPs. He tried to make an escape, and Ford blocked the way. He wouldn't let him out. He thought they just wanted to help. I mean, he was an ensign. He was literally like the lowest on the totem pole of information.
Yes.
Trucker Theory is saying, is Darwin Dr. Crusher? No.
No, he's a far more important character than that.
Was Dr. Crusher that important of a character?
No, that's what I'm saying. That Darwin's a far more important character.
I mean, she had a couple of episodes, even outside Sub Rosa. I mean, she had a couple of decent episodes.
Oh, yeah, there was a few, yes, but she didn't save the day nearly as often as Darwin did.
Yeah. I mean, there's that episode where she and Geordi were stuck in the cargo bay, and they had to open the bay doors to put out the plasma fire. There's the episode that she and Picard were on the planet. Not the one where they got psychic powers, so there's that one too. But the one where they're on the weapon merchant planet. Except the weapon merchants were long dead. But I wouldn't say she saved the day necessarily in either of those episodes. I don't know. I'll have to think about that track. She had some episodes where she saved the day. Not the season 2 where there's the aging people. That was Pulowski.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas is saying, Matthew obviously hates me. I'm off on weekends, but he won't play Left 4 Dead, doesn't acknowledge my membership, and deliberately misnames people to take time off my life. Man, when you put it like that...
Sounds right.
Yeah. Wow. Ow. I really am the worst.
All right, hang on now. So Darwin is Captain Janeway. I'm sorry. Darwin is far more mentally stable than that.
Janeway is mentally unstable. They literally made that canon in one of the episodes where Tuvok talks about there was a mission that she tried to accomplish and she failed, lost some crew members, then she went back and accomplished it on her own despite the fact like she was putting her life grossly in danger. Yeah, she nuts. And then there's that other episode where it was the one where they're going through the black area where there were no stars you could see. And she sequestered herself off to her room and left Chakotay to deal with everything. She is not stable.
Yeah. You get Equinox as well, which went crazy on Ransom and Company.
Hey, Alexander Brooks, how you doing?
Hello.
So sure enough, an Alliance ship finds them. They shoot out their grappling hook, and they got a grip on it, but it's not willing to stand down. It is 100% determined to get out of the grappling hook. It's pushing its engines way past the red line. I mean, just look how bright they're getting in that screenshot. And we see here again, Jellicoe has a decent military mind. He could have just blasted them and blown them up completely. But he reaches out to them and says, stand down, and you won't be hurt. But they refuse. And by over pushing the engines, it blows up. So now, we've seen this guy a couple times, I want to say. Like at the very...
he's like the leader of the Micronesian army or something. Whatever they call it.
So he's like, what's going on here? We've lost 2 whiskers. Now we've lost a sub. And they know what's up. They're not stupid. So she sends out a whole mess of people to find out what's going on. Thomas is saying, wow, racism and sexism in one Matthew sentence? What? What sentence?
I don't know. There's many possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not trying to deny it even. I'm just like, wait, which sentence? Now Dagwood's mad at everyone. He's making a bit of a logical fallacy here. He's claiming that because a single person hurt daggers and did bad things to them, that all people who look like him, which I believe he calls them monotrims or monochromes, therefore you're all guilty.
Oh, by the way, it's because you're talking about Janeway in the black area.
Ah, okay. Okay.
I see what you mean there, yeah.
And you may have thought Dagwood was just, letting out some stress on a random section of wall, but no, it was actually the exact section of wall where the pain was, according to Dagwood. And here we find the crystals that they're looking for. And you can kind of see what I was talking about, that they are kind of like a flash drive shape in that they are rectangular. But they're supposed to be crystals, but they have circuitry inside them. But unfortunately, only one of them still works. Professor Brain Specs is saying, Thomas Potts, soon you'll have so many hours of your life, you won't be able to watch Life with Matthew, watch Babylon 5. Or shh. So here's one of the experiments they were doing. They cut off the arm of one of the Gelfs, and they do it without anesthesia. He says, I want this to be as field-like as possible, because in the field, something might happen and you've lost an arm. And we see that he's actually able to regrow the entire arm, that this was a special type of Gelf. that had self-regenerative properties. That the UEO was continuing the experiments, trying to create the perfect soldier. And somehow Bridger was involved in all this. I forget how they linked him in, but somehow he was overseeing the base or like aware. I think he was intelligence at this time, so he was at least tangentially aware of what was going on here.
And just to clarify something in the chat, while it's true that Janeway did sequester herself in a room because of the Omega Directive being classified, we're talking about a different example. I think it was in the episode Night, where Voyager has to go through a large region of space with no stars, and she feels guilty for the crew being stuck in the Delta Quadrant, so she kind of like isolates herself from everybody and leaves Chakotay in charge of like the day-to-day stuff.
And she way cuts herself off. And Chakotay has a line about like it's the captain's prerogative on when she comes out, and she'll come out when she wants to come out. So the Alliance sends out what appears to be a brand new battleship type sub. Battleship sub? Something that's not in the UEO database. Tom's saying, yes, the episode is Night, and the area was called The Void. I think that's the first episode we meet the Malon, perhaps?
Yeah, I think so.
And that they were eventually able to bypass the entire dark area by going through a wormhole that the Malon captain had found. So Jellicoe, in some great diplomacy, he makes a great excuse. He's like, oh yes, we are in your waters, but we only came here because there was a sub sending out a distress call, but unfortunately we got here too late. And double unfortunately, we over-pushed our engines and now they're damaged. So the Alliance captain or admiral or whatever his position is, like, oh, well then would you like us to escort you into the closest Alliance port for repairs? And Jellicoe calls that bluff. He's like, well, yes, please. And so the captain's like, I know you're lying to me. I know that you know that you're lying to me, but well played. Get out of here. And we don't have any true proof. It doesn't matter how much I know that you know that I know that we know. Without any solid evidence, there's nothing we can do. And it looks like they're about to get that evidence. Back on Banana Island, weather station, the people she sent out have found one of the cuts that they made. You know that they have intruders on the island. Thomas is saying that Eagle Moss still hasn't sent him the ship the aliens in the Void use. Which aliens? The Malons?
No, I assume it means like the night aliens, or the ones that lived in the darkness. I don't know if they have a name specifically, but
Truck Review is saying, hey John, I know how we can defeat the Borg. We can let them assimilate Matthew.
There's an idea.
Go to Sector 315, Node Junction 22, and repair... Oh, crap, I mean, 315, and repair Node... hold on, I gotta look this up. So Dagwood's ready to die. He found some dog tags that presumably belonged to one of the Gelfs on one of the doors, and he's refusing to leave at this point. Ford tries to get him like, hey soldier, are you disobeying an order? Let's get a move on here. And Dagwood says, no, wait, I know what yes, you're telling me that, but I know what I'm telling me is more right. I need to die here with the rest of the Gelfs who died. Which, I mean, not all of them died here. Remember we saw Dagwood's clone at that facility at the beginning of the season? And Ford's apologizing. I'm sorry, Dagwood. And I mean, he really didn't know. And Ford is saying, you know, I'll stay behind. You go, Dagwood. I'll be the one to die with these people. Dagwood's like, you do this for me? He goes, no, I'm doing it for me. Which, I mean, you can lie to the guy. But it's what Dagwood needed to hear. And we gotta go. Get out of here before the bombs go off. And thankfully no one in this scene can hit the broadside of a barn. And everyone's able to escape. Well, I say everyone, but I mean all the people we care about. And Lucas was apparently being Mr. Obvious, Brainy Specs says. Mr. Brainy Specs. Professor Brainy Specs says.
Mr. Brainy Specs.
Thomas saying,
poses.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just say, Thomas poses an interesting question. Would Matthew be rated above or below the Kazon? Because the Borg said they weren't worthy of assimilation.
Well, I think you'd have to do an Echeb situation. You put me aboard a shuttlecraft and then push the engines above what they're rated for to make it seem like they have higher technology and trick them into assimilating me.
That might work.
So off the lieutenant goes to get into one of the Spectres to fight off the Alliance issue so Ford and everyone can make it back. And Piccolo wants to help, except Jellicoe's like, you got less than 40 hours of experience. So, well, yeah, but I mean, she can't take care of all those incoming Alliance craft on her own. She's gonna need help. Because apparently the brand new sub that the Alliance has followed the Prometheus design, and it could separate into several different attack subs. Perhaps unarmed or unmanned attack subs. Lieutenant's able to get one almost immediately, but Piccolo almost immediately gets a torpedo on his tail instead. And it's interesting, I'm not sure how much a torpedo actually can track underwater. Like, obviously things underwater don't move nearly as fast as we show in movies. But I do wonder how much true guidance the torpedo has once it's shot. If things are like, yeah, I can totally track, but it has to do it over a super wide area.
I don't know.
So even though they blew up 2 of the ships, Jellicoe still only wants to warn the last one that's following after Bridger and everyone. So they shoot the plasma lasers. Which I guess if I were to kind of combine the words plasma and laser, I might come up with the word phaser. There's an extra H in there, I know, but plasmas are hot, so that's where I get the H from. And true, Thomas, you would lose a ship. Now, unfortunately, Bridger wants to immediately report the status of what he found, but O'Neill, he got ordered to do some overhaul on the communication array. So Jellicoe basically bought Bridger some time to mull over whether or not to inform his higher-ups, or what to inform his higher-ups about what they found. Because there's a bit of a moral quandary about this. The data chip or crystal has the information about the Gelfs being able to regrow limbs. Meanwhile, Ford is wrestling with the fact, like, I should have let this guy go. And Bridgers is correctly pointing out that there's no point beating yourself up about this. Even if you'd let him go, all that would have happened is that you would have been charged with treason. The Gelf still would have died. He was not escaping the island. But both of them are saying we don't really have a right to decide what to do with this crystal. So Bridget goes and finds Dagwood over here. And he's like, you need to decide what we do with this crystal. He goes, the data on this crystal could make a better life for everyone in the whole world. It's contained on this crystal. And Dagwood's like, well, then that's good. Bridget goes, well, it's only good if you can accept the way the experiments were conducted that brought us this information. So, I mean, this is kind of like the Voyager episode where the insectoid creature was attached to B'Elanna and the doctor had to pull up some Cardassian doctor. And the both of them were talking about the morality of using medical techniques that the Germans learned. What would the right word for this be? Gained. The Germans gained through the torture of their prisoners in the Holocaust. Which, yes, Whoopi, was a real thing and wasn't just white people fighting white people. What a twit. What an absolute twit. Anyway. Gosh, I said this on Discord, but she thinks she's Guinan in real life, but she's just Wesley. She needs to shut up like everyone tells him. I think she actually is on a 2-week sabbatical now. Forced sabbatical.
About that, ABC suspended her for 2 weeks.
Which, I mean, I'm not a fan of canceling. I don't think that's how we should decide whether or not to let someone continue on. But at the same time, I'm like, that was such a dumb statement. I'm glad she's at least getting a slap on the wrist. Regardless, the question asked is an extremely complicated and important question. Should you use that kind of medical information? Now, Dagwood here, he goes with the answer of no. No, you should not. He breaks and destroys the crystal. And he's kind of shocked that he did it. Like, it was clearly a moment of anger. And then he hangs the Gelf's dog tag on his own to carry along now. And honestly, I love this episode and the Voyager episode where it examines this, because I don't have an answer for the question of whether or not to use that medical data.
That's difficult.
Like, if my dad could have had a cure for his cancer because of some medical technique they discovered, I don't like that word, that they gained through the atrocities they committed, then I might be like, yeah, let's use this medical information. But at the same time, if I was someone whose family member or race of people, the Jewish people, had been tortured to get this information, I might be on the side of don't use this information. We need to find this information, but we need to find it through proper medical techniques and not through butchering others. Tom was saying that's another Voyager episode. Yeah, the one where B'Elanna had the insect thing on her. I forget the name of it.
Yeah, I think it's called Nothing Human.
That sounds right. So yeah, the point is, I don't know. I think that's way too complicated to make a hard, firm stance of, oh yeah, this is always 100% the case. Because I don't know if there is one. I think that intellectually I lean toward the side of, I hate that this stuff happened, but it's almost worse that the information isn't known now. It's like somehow it makes the things they went through even more in vain than they otherwise would be. As you can see, I don't have a clear way of saying that. That's just kind of like my off-the-cuff, uneducated thoughts.
Well, the good thing is that I don't think the episode really has a clear way to answer it either. I mean, you know, they show Dagwood destroying the information. That's not like that was absolutely the only way to go. It could have gone either way. It was my impression.
It definitely does. He definitely has that moment where we saw at the end where he goes, oh, what did I just do here? Did I make the right choice? Or did I make a horrible mistake by doing this? And I like that they did that. Is John muted? No?
Well, Professor says he cut off my video.
Oh, just for a second. I got it fixed now. I transitioned away from the clips, so it's just the two of us now. And whenever I do that, it takes just a second to catch back up. But you shouldn't be muted. Say a few things. But you shouldn't be.
Can you hear me? Or did Matthew mess up the
audio? You shouldn't be.
Can you hear me? Or did I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he did. It's kind of his specialty.
I know it's good. It's good. Yes, we got an echo there. That was testing the audio, but yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. Trek is saying I cannot hear him. I heard him.
No, that's weird.
That's really weird. Yeah, I can see John's audio levels. They're there, and I could hear him when I unmuted my. Say something else, John.
Can you hear me now?
Else, John.
All right, dude. Can you hear me now? There's John. About a Windows update. All right, dude. Can you hear?
Yeah, okay, yeah. Professor Brain Specs is pulling my leg. Yes, I'm falling for it, but it's only because I've done it plenty of times in the past.
I mean, it's hard to tell. You know, it could be real, could be not. Who knows?
And thank you, Alexander Brooks, for being honest. Why is Matthew echoing? Oh, because I was listening to myself on YouTube, and it uses the same audio channel that John does. So yes, you hear just a little bit echo while I'm listening. But that's also why I don't listen usually. Maybe it's the Twitch feed. Well, that wouldn't make sense because Twitch and YouTube have the exact same feed. It's literally split. It's in both places. Yeah, Thomas saying, Matthew, you're muted. Click the button to unmute. Fake news. News.
That's right.
I'm not falling for any more of this. So yes, we hear John. I can hear him just fine. You guys are full of crap.
Wow.
Anyway, John, what are your thoughts about this episode?
Well, as we said, it's an interesting moral dilemma. I thought it was interesting that they presented both of the possible choices, if you will, and kind of leaving it up to the audience to decide which is the right one, which I think is what the better episodes of this nature do, instead of picking one and being kind of preachy about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they had a real slow burn to get to this point.
Yeah.
But the climax of the episode was the question about the medical data. And I think that by building up to this, and we see that it wasn't just a cut and dry issue. That this wasn't just, oh, this thing happened. It was, oh, these two people that you know and love were involved in it to a certain degree. Both Bridger and Ford were directly there. Now, Ford was in the room when it happened, but he was almost the more excusable individual because he was just an ensign who had no idea what was going on and reacted as a good soldier. A truck reviewer is saying he can hear John on YouTube but not Twitch. That is weird.
Odd. But yeah, Ford was like Riker on the Pegasus when they were working on the cloaking device. He just fresh out of the academy. He didn't really know any better, so to speak.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Bridger, who wasn't physically there, was almost more culpable because he was at least aware that the UEO was doing experiments. Now, I don't remember exactly how aware he was. Like, I don't know if he was aware that they were being tortured, but he was at the very least aware of the fact that the UEO was doing illegal experiments. So you get all this background, like, hey, you know what? Most things in life aren't just black and white. Most things in life are messy. And I like that we really got to examine the full length of that just for the payoff of is it morally right to use this medical data? And Thomas is also saying that he checked no John audio on Twitch. And I do believe you. I do.
It's weird.
I don't know why all of a sudden he would have cut out, considering... I mean, I changed scenes, but it's the exact same audio. The only thing I did was get rid of one of the boxes. I'm sure there's something I did that is somehow messing everything up. I mean, we all know me. We all know me.
The stream wouldn't have been complete without some kind of audio problem.
Yeah. Second one sends off to... I got nothing. Yeah, I feel like if I do that, we're going to start getting, like, weird echoing stuff. So maybe I shouldn't do that. Anyway, was there anything in this episode that was, like, kind of lame to you?
Not that I can think of offhand. Thought it was a pretty solid episode. I guess it was kind of weird that Piccolo volunteered to go out in the fight at the end because I don't think he's ever done that before. I guess he just felt like it was a time to help out.
Yeah, that was weird. And I think I may just fix the audio issue over on Twitch. Maybe someone can give a quick confirmation on that. I swear I just pulled up Twitch on my computer. I can hear you just fine. Through it.
Well, it's true, Professor Jellicoe. Calling Darwin that animal was kind of a shock. Like I said, I'll cut him a little bit of slack since he was in the middle of a stressful situation. You better not do it again, though.
I mean, that is kind of his view on Darwin in general, to be fair.
Yeah.
He's definitely has not been the biggest Darwin fan. In fact, I might go so far as to say that he's been aggressively not a Darwin fan.
Well, nobody's perfect.
It's true. It's true. I think I proved this on a every time I stream basis. Robert Piccolo's just doing his best to protect Gohan. Oh, it's true. It's true. He was more of a father than Goku ever was to either of his sons. And Twitch is good now. Okay, I don't know why that is, but I'm glad we got that identified. Thank you, guys. It was weird that I guess it was because Brody wasn't there anymore. Brody was set up to be the fighter pilot under the sea, and then they killed him off a couple episodes ago. So we needed something or someone to take his place. So in jumps Piccolo. Now I think they could have just been like, "Oh, Piccolo, are you sure you're ready for this? I mean, you've never done this in combat. You've only done this in simulations." And then you could have gotten the same thing, but be like, "You've only done this for 40 hours. I'm like, really? You've had a week? A week worth of time? Like, come on, man. It's the military. I think he would have, unless you literally started him on Monday, I think he would have had more than 40 hours already. And Trek is saying I muted Matthew. Or no, he's telling me mute Matthew. Guys, you guys are just so loving. Thank you.
We try.
So, I mean, that was a little weird thing. All in all, I liked the episode. I felt like it was a good one. I guess my other minor critique would be I'm not a super big fan that they brought Bridger in twice to be the bad guy this season. Or a bit of the bad guy. And last time he came in, he did nothing but fight with Lewis. There you go, Thomas. Lewis the whole time. And now they brought him in just to be like, oh yeah, I used to run this super shady thing, section not 31. Which I'm pretty sure Star Trek did it first, or SeaQuest did it first. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
But quite a
this
bit.
This episode was 95, I think. You know, and then when DS9 would have been a few years after that.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. Thomas, my goodness, he's murdering me. Yes. I'll behave, Thomas.
Now, if I remember correctly, the reason that Roy Scheider was in this episode is because part of the agreement for him leaving is that he had to appear in a certain number of episodes over the course of the season. So they just kind of shoehorned him into this one. I mean, they could have done it with some random guy. It didn't really have to be Bridger. But I guess that's where they decided to put him in.
That makes sense. It's disappointing, but it makes sense. Like, instead of hiring a guest actor for the week to be the villain, bring in Roy.
And also say farewell to Captain Bridger because this is his last episode.
Oh, that's too bad. I would have enjoyed it. Like, I would have enjoyed one last episode with him where he wasn't the bad guy. He was actually constructively helping. Like, the last episode he was in, I think it was Resurrection, wasn't it? Or no, Equilibrium.
Yeah,
because everything has to find the balancing point. In Equilibrium, instead of having him come in and be like, "You're an idiot, Lucas." There you go, Thomas. That one was just for you. You're an idiot, Lucas. I'm going to fight you on this. Have him come in and like be working alongside Lucas the whole time and saying, yeah, the two of us, we have a differing of opinion still, but we're working for this common goal, and it goes wrong and they have to work together to solve it. Like, that would have been great. But it's disappointing that they bring him back just to have him be the bad guy. It still worked. The episode wasn't like, it wasn't bad because of that. It's just my druthers, as it were. And Thomas is saying, weird, I didn't type goodness. It's true. True. But I read it anyway. Okay, so Trekker, if you're technically right, the bad guy is the Doctor, or I would say the worst guy. I would just also say that they portray Bridger as being bad as well, as being culpable for a great evil. Which, I did say on the one hand, I like the fact that they had shades of gray, and they made it more complex, but at the same time, I feel like they were taking one last shot at Bridger's legacy. Like, oh, hey, you know this character you love so much? You shouldn't. He was involved in some shady stuff in the day. Which we kind of knew already from the Imitation of the Sincerest Form of Flattery episode. The one where his brain doppelganger tries to blow some stuff up. But even that was less of a Bridger is a bad guy and more of a... At the time, Bridger was more military focused. He was more hawkish. And since that time, he got rid of some of his hawkish tendencies and became more of the peace seeker. So it's not really that Bridger was a bad guy back then. It's that this simulation has taken the hawkish aspects of his personality and run with them. Like, it's taken the worst part of him and amplified it up to 11. Is the Doctor's first name Matthew? Well, it could have been. I only mentioned his last name as being something of Eastern European soundingness. I'm not sure if we got his first name. I think they just said Dr. So-and-so. Professor Brainspecs saying, proof positive. Matthew calls everyone by the wrong name just because he can, not because he gets them mixed up. Well, I mean, once I mess up once, I do run with it. I did mess up their names quite legitimately the first time. Now, except for Jellicoe. Jellicoe, I just made the connection and I loved it so much, I went with it. But everything else, legitimately, I did mess up their names. Even B'Elanna Troy was a legitimate mess up.
That was a good one.
It was. I was trying to say B'Elanna Torres and just, complete fail. But such an appropriate fail. I mean...
Yeah, it worked.
For the character that was B'Elanna Torres, perfect fail. I wish I was legitimately that creative. But unfortunately, I'm not. Well, John, any final thoughts about this week's episode?
Said it was a pretty good one overall. I like episodes with like a moral quandary. Plus, there was some fun Darwin scenes too. That's always a bonus.
Yeah, he definitely saved the day in this one.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree. I think it was a fun episode overall. And I feel like most of the episodes in this season were just fantastic. So next week is Second Chance, which, you know what, I'm gonna say this is gonna be some sort of time travel episode. It's been a while since we've done anything with that in the series, so let's say Second Chance is all about one of the characters. Can't be Bridger. He already told me that he's not going to be around anymore. Jellicoe. Let's say Jellicoe finds himself back in time and has the opportunity to set right what once went wrong. He's trying to decide whether he should do that, or if he should let things turn out the way they did the first time around, even though it's going to be personally detrimental to him. I was saying, just listening to you make that sound after you said her name is kind of weird. Did I go, Fair enough. Fair enough, Thomas. I can appreciate that. Maybe some poor timing on my part. Exactly, Professor. Captain Archer left into Jellicoe. And as to Thomas's question a while back ago, he said, was my prediction correct? No. It was not. No, it was not at all. So we'll see. We will see if I get anything about the prediction I just made right next week. Because at the very least, we will be doing this next week. The week after that, I think... See, what's the week after that? Is that... The week after that is going to be the 15th? So... I may not be here on the 15th. In fact, let's go ahead and plan that I won't be here on the 15th, and I'll let everyone know if that plan changes. Because that's going to be the next time I teach some high schoolers. But even if that's the case, we're either going to be wrapping this up on March the 1st or March the 8th. That'll be the last episode SeaQuest DSV 2032. So guys, thanks for hanging out with us this week. We look forward to seeing you next week at 9:30 U.S. Central Time. We're going to be watching Season 3, Episode 10, Second Chance. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will. And be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of all the updates I do on this channel. If you want to support the work I'm doing here, then I hope you'll consider becoming one of my Patreons, where you'll get early access to all kinds of videos. And until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.